Fantastic.
Welcome to another episode of the Air Raid Attack. You are listening to us on the Unhinged Sports Network. It's actually draft night, and of course, we're recording it on a Tuesday, but it is draft night while you're listening. And more than likely, while you're listening, I am more than likely sleeping, but I will guarantee you I will be up to at least watch the Denver Broncos at least make their first selection of the 2021 NFL Draft. As always, listen to us on iTunes and Google. However, I got a good buddy of mine, Clyde Butler, joining us today on the Air Raid Attack, podcast. Clyde, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fantastic. As always, my man. I am blessed.
Hey, better, we don't realize how good we have it till we have it until it's gone. And trust me, we have it a lot better than people realize.
Oh, man. Well, my wife is from Honduras, so every time I go down there, it changes my whole perspective on life. So I just need a couple weeks down there, and I'm like, okay, I know what I have. I'm rich, my man. I'm blessed beyond all belief. I'm really glad that you had me on. I'm really excited to do this. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And people, you don't realize we were actually going to do this last week, but of course, work was pretty hectic in regards to the University of Oklahoma spring game. But glad to have Clyde on. It actually worked out wonders talking NFL draft. Of course, the show is going to be airing on Thursday during the NFL draft. So it fits all perfect. And it will be on YouTube later on this week. And if you're watching on YouTube, me and Clyde, we look like brothers from another mother.
That's so true, man. I love it, dude. I love it, man. You know, we probably have the same 23 and me. We got to do one of those one day and see at what point is our ancestors actually like we're kin.
Oh,
I know it.
I can. The wife and I, we've actually done I've done mine for sure, ancestry DNA, and I will get that info to you.
Okay, yeah, definitely, man. I'm sure we share an uncle, somebody.
I'm sure if you scroll, I think it's like a distant cousin or a distant relative, and I'm sure your name's in there somewhere.
Yeah, we probably have the same grandma.
You never know. First things first, of course, the NFL draft has arrived, and Clyde, your Jacksonville #1 overall pick gets their selection this year. Of course, I know what Ian Rappaport at NFL.com comes out and says that Urban's down to Justin Fields, he's down to Zach Wilson, he's down to Trevor. But can we be honest? I mean, I know that's his top 3 board. Can we be honest that Trevor's the guy that they're going to be going with for the next 4 or 5 years?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see there's much to talk about besides Trevor Lawrence. Of course, Trevor Lawrence. I know you might have I know you texted during right before the show started, but I guess he had to clarify the comment he made during the Sports Illustrated article talking about that he doesn't need football to make him feel worthy, and he had to justify what he said and so on and so forth. And he goes out to say, I love the game of football, and I'm going to play with my, practically the passion of it. And he seems that Lawrence pretty much stated, I'm not going to take too much time of this, but he says, quote, "It seems as if people are misreading my sentiment. I am internally motivated. I love football as much or more than anyone. It is a huge priority in my life. Obviously, I am driven to be the best I can, be and to maximize my potential and to win." He finished off to say, "I have a lot of confidence in my work ethic. I love to grind and love to chase my goals. You can ask anyone who has been in my life. That being said, I'm secure in who I am and what I believe. I don't need football to make me feel worthy as a person. I purely love the game and everything that comes with it. The work, the team, the ups and the downs. I am a firm believer in the fact that there is a plan for my life, and I'm called to be the best I can be at whatever I am doing. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk." End quote. LOL. So, I mean, let's be honest, he's a winner, obviously, at Clemson. Won phenomenal, a lot of games at Clemson, national championships as well. course, now we get to the NFL. I know it's from a fan perspective, and it's not, fair to justify what we may see down the road. Over under. Do you think he'll do well in the NFL?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to be great. I mean, I think that he's going to be the face of the NFL, of the Shield, in like 2 or 3 years. I think that we're going to be all comparing that guy to the greats of the greats early. I mean, look. I mean, he looks like you built that guy on Madden. If you're going to build a quarterback, he would look like that. You would even put the long flowing locks, and you would make him look like Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah, I think he's going to be fantastic. Well, let's just put it this way. I hope he's fantastic. I hope he's great, man.
I do too. Absolutely.
I love greatness. He's been destined for greatness since birth, it seems.
Yep.
And, yeah, I really hope it works out. I want him to be great. So, yeah, let's all hope that he's great. I think he will be. And great pick, Jacksonville. Lucky you.
Hey, I'm not blaming the beautiful weather. I love to be in Jacksonville. Obviously Oklahoma to Florida is a different story in itself. But now we're switching gears to the Jets. Of course, the wonderful New York media, if you will. The biggest needs is quarterback. They need offensive linemen to protect whoever in God's green earth the quarterback's going to be. Obviously, tight end, edge, corner. Do we think this is where practically the top 5 quarterbacks are going to start falling? Do you see a potential Zach Wilson from BYU, maybe a Justin Fields? I know Mac Jones, which we'll touch base once we get to where we think he might be. But
once we get to the third pick,
third pick,
I think this pick is a no-brainer. I think it's not what people say. You gotta stop and quit listening to what people say and start listening to what people do. And they traded away a guy that was 23, 24 years old, and Sam Darnold, that they picked 3 overall a couple of years ago, and they gave him away for a second-round pick. This is obviously going to be Zach Wilson. It's a no-brainer. I think they're still wishing that they could have got the number 1 overall to get Trevor Lawrence, but it just didn't work out. They won too many football games at 2, I think. Thank you. Who was their quarterback last year that won them 2 games? Was that Darnold? Darnold won them 2 games. They were mad that they won 2 games. They shipped him out. Now their consolation is Zach Wilson. I think it's a pretty good pick. I don't know much about. I mean, I've seen him play. I live here, obviously in Colorado, and I've seen him play. He doesn't wow me. I'm not wowed by the guy. I mean, I think he's gonna. I don't know. He's all right. But I think the Jets see what they want to see in Darnold in Zach Wilson, and I think that's their pick.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with you on that one. Obviously, I don't know much about him besides he played at BYU. He has a good arm. I mean, but everybody can have a good arm, and you can be the most lousiest quarterback that there is. But again, which I thought was the biggest issue last year with Sam Darnold is until you get offensive line, and we know by experience if you're a Denver fan, such as we are, as long as you don't have an offensive line, your quarterback is only as good as you can be. Of course, I can't wait till we get to the Denver's pick, but.
Hey, look, man. It's hard right now being a Broncos fan.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, it is.
It's so tough to be a Broncos fan because we're so used to being great. We're so used to being we're not used to picking at 9. We're not used to saying what quarterback we need or our guy's trash. We're not used to that. So there's a lot of division in Broncos country right now, and it's tough. And one thing I can say, well, let's wait to get there.
Yeah, let's.
I can't wait for this weekend to get over. So hopefully we can either move on, and just bite the bullet, and this is how it's going to be, or I don't know, man. I'm ready for this draft.
Oh, I am too. It may not be dramatic, but nonetheless, we now look at San Francisco at number 3.
Yeah,
First,
let's go to San
trading
Fran.
up with Miami down. Supposedly Kyle Shanahan and Lynch is saying, hey, it's down to Mac Jones and it's down to Trey Lance.
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Clyde. Of course,
Yes.
Mac Jones, a one-hit wonder, because obviously he was a third string to Jalen Hurts and to Tua Tagovailoa. He comes back.
2 very good quarterbacks. Let's be fair. Two amazing college quarterbacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And of course, Jalen transfers to Oklahoma. Here comes Tua. He's now backing up Tua. He gets the fun in the sun, leads into a national championship. In my opinion, one of the best Alabama teams I've seen in quite some time.
Maybe the best, right?
Oh yeah.
Were they the best Alabama team you've seen in the Saban era?
Oh my God. It would be up there. I think I said this 2 or 3 weeks ago on my podcast with either myself or just somebody on there. I think I had them as the best Alabama team in history, but definitely under Nick Saban. I will say, I think I know Dan, a good buddy of mine from another podcast, he's going to say, well, it's because they torched Oklahoma in the Final Four in the playoff. Not really so much. I think they're better than the LSU team that went undefeated 2 years ago.
Ooh, dude, that was a good team, bro.
That was a scary team, yeah.
A good team. The LSU team a couple years ago, that's the best college football team I've ever seen in my life.
They were good.
So that is very, very high praise. The 2019 LSU team, that is a great squad. So to even be mentioned in that in that breath with that team, that's saying quite a bit. I think it has to do a lot with their offense, to be honest with you. Alabama's mostly known for their defense, and they balled out on defense, let's be fair, but that offense was something else, man.
That offense was too good.
Ooh, that was a good.
Good.
They were great, man. They're going to have 5 first-round picks on that offense this year.
Yeah, because
5 or 6.
With Mac Jones, which is now the name that's getting higher because of his Senior Bowl. Which I'm just like Zach Wilson. I'm just not 100% for sure on Jones. Can he win? Obviously, but we're going off of one season, a Senior Bowl that really, I'm sure, doesn't make a huge difference to a lot of people. But he very well may win. He may take over a franchise and run with it. I mean, he very well, or he could be the next Paxton Lynch. He may just a one-hit wonder. And you think he's better than Lynch?
Yes. Yes, I do. I mean,
better than Tebow? Will we go that route?
I might be better than Paxton Lynch, bro. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm honestly being like let's get a 7-on-7. Me and my 6 guys versus Paxton Lynch and his 6. He's gonna work me. There's no doubt. I'm 43 years old. Okay, I'm 43 years old. Okay, he's a little bit better than me. A little bit better than me.
I do have a confession though. I do have a Paxton Lynch jersey in my closet.
Oh, I know. I have one too. I changed the oil in my car with it. What I used to check my dipstick with. Yeah, it's full. I got full.
Did you use it to wipe off your stick?
Yeah. I do that. I make sure. Yeah, it's what keeps the oil from getting on the garage floor. Man, I love that 12 jersey, dude. They something about the number 12 too, bro. You know what I mean? That 12 number, and for it to just get like shabby like that. He just it was shabby. What were we talking about? I mean,
real quick, San Francisco, real quick. Southern University is going to hire Marshall Faulk as new head coach of Southern University. So congrats to Marshall Faulk, the Hall of Fame running back. It was
congrats to Southern University.
Oh, no kidding. Wonderful pick
So
there.
yeah, so they got Deion Sanders now and Marshall Faulk in that same league. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Jackson State, Deion Sanders
Yes.
is their head coach.
Yep.
Is that right? And then you got Southern.
You got Southern.
All
I
right.
think Tennessee State picked up Eddie George.
Really?
I think it was Tennessee State.
Okay.
So
Tennessee. So I think that they're all in that SWAC division.
Yeah,
Is that what it's
what it was called? Yeah.
Something like that.
So
I love that. I love that.
Marshall Faulk. Congrats.
Congrats, Marshall Faulk.
San Francisco.
They're gonna take Mac Jones.
You think it's Mac? You don't think it's gonna be Trey Lance?
I think it's gonna be Mac Jones.
See, I got in my mock draft, I got Mac, but I was really leaning towards Trey Lance.
I think they're leaning towards Trey Lance. I think they're doing their due diligence on Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is a bigger upside. Look, man, you said it best. Winning football games is the ultimate. You cannot put a price on somebody who can win football games.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
When you got a guy who is a winner at quarterback, I mean, you can't put a price on that, and that's an intangible that you cannot measure. Yeah, he's got a beer belly. He's not really fast. He's not going to wow you in any measurables. Reminds me of somebody coming out of college. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you can win football games, that's the guy you take. Now, I'm not saying that Trey Lance can't win football games, because he obviously can too. But national championship at Alabama in the same breath with the best offensive or best football teams in college football history, that's your guy, man. And I know that a lot of people are going to be really upset by that, and they gave up a whole bunch to go get him. But if he is the guy that can win football games for you, you don't need much around him, right? That's kind of the missing piece. So if you can just get a guy who doesn't turn the ball over, is really accurate, and gets the ball to the playmakers that they have on offense in time, the sky's the limit with that guy. You just let him run and let that offense click. And I think he's just going to fit right in real quick. Plus, look, you cannot put a price tag on running a pro style offense in college, right? You're not coming in. You're not coming into the game. It's not going to be too fast for you. It's not going to be over your head. You're not going to be confused by the play calls. He's gonna step in, and it's going to be seamless. And I think they know that, and away we go.
I can see Mac Jones. I think probably at the end, I think it's Mac Jones that's going to take the bid. Of course, the fans and good old faithful out there, they're little antsy, but nonetheless, here's the next one. Atlanta's at number 4, and this one's going to get really tricky because they're willing to trade Julio, but they're going to have to probably do it after the draft because a cap hit's going to hit them pretty hard.
Yep.
New England's interested. Denver's willing to move up.
You think?
Here's what: if I'm Denver, I'm only making. And I know we're almost halfway there, but I will say it's at least with number 4. If Denver goes to number 4, I would love that tackle out of Oregon.
Oh no!
You don't know?
No. I love the tackle out of Oregon. Do not get me wrong. That is a baller. He's going to be a bookend right tackle, left tackle for years to come.
Because I was gonna say he's my only selection if we only move up, but he's definitely not.
You're not giving up what it costs to move up to 4 to take a tackle. You just cannot do it. You if you're gonna do that, you're gonna go up and you're gonna get Justin Fields, and you're gonna call it a day, and you're gonna shake hands, and everybody's gonna clap in the war room. Broncos country is gonna lose their mind.
Yep.
We're going to all rally around Justin Fields, and it is going to be a great day again in Broncos country. That's the only player they move up to number 4 for.
Not even Trey Lance?
No. because how do you justify moving up to the 4 pick for a guy from the FCS? Now I know he's got the highest ceiling probably of all the quarterbacks in this draft, outside of Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion. He's got the highest upside, but he's not ready. And you don't give up all of that to move up there for a guy that, is really unproven as from his conference.
I don't have us, and just so everybody knows, I do not have Denver moving up or down. I got them staying at 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But here's an interesting one, and I'm going to pick your brain. Could we potentially see, and I think I read this on an article earlier, could we potentially see New England trade up to 4 because they desperately need a quarterback? And if so, is that where Fields or Lance could possibly drop in their pocket?
What do the New England Patriots have to offer the Atlanta Falcons to move up to 4?
Not much.
They're the 15 pick. That is a long way to move up into the top 10. I don't think you're going to see a jump like that at all in the NFL in the draft this year. I just don't see it. You might see teams maybe jump 2 or 3 or 4 picks, maybe 5 if the Broncos jump from 9 to 4. But we are not going to see big moves this year. Nothing like from 25 to 10 or whatever it was to get Julio Jones back in the day, from whatever 26 to 6 or whatever. It just isn't going to happen this year.
And I did Google it. The rumor trade, if the mock draft trade, I should say, Patriots would send the 15th, the 2021 second, 2022 first and second, and Stephen Gilmore to the Falcons is how they would have it drawn up.
That's a lot to give up, man.
It's a
and what do you take at 15? And let's say it's Justin Fields and he leads the Patriots to the playoffs.
Right.
So now you're giving up essentially a second, like a late first next year and a late second next year. Look, there's a big difference between a late first round pick and an early first round pick. There's maybe 10, 15 players in an NFL draft that really have a first round grade.
Mm-hmm.
After you get out of those top 10 or 15 picks, really you're looking at everybody else. It's kind of like, here's the top 10 or 15 players, and then there's everybody else. And it's really like, those second half first round picks. Yes, there are gems, but there are gems in the second, third, and fourth round too. So to give up that much, I just don't see the Falcons pulling the trigger on that trade, especially when that's going to be a hot commodity, especially after Mac Jones gets taken. Justin Fields is going to be a big commodity. I think it gets real hot and heavy at the number 4 pick for Atlanta. They're gonna take an offer that they cannot refuse. I just don't see the Patriots being able to be that team that makes that pulls that trigger.
Now here's one for you. If Atlanta decides, we're gonna keep it, who do you think they're gonna go with? Is that where Justin Fields still goes, regardless?
Pitts.
Oh, Kyle Pitts.
Pitts.
Yes.
That guy, dude, he is a game changer.
Yep.
At that position. So let's say, you were talking about Julio Jones. They're trying to trade Julio.
Yep.
So they need a playmaker. So they got Calvin Ridley right now. They need somebody else to stretch the defense. Man, Kyle Pitts, that guy is, dude. He is like he reminds me of Randy Moss.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, he's got a 7'4" wingspan or something crazy like that, bro. And he runs a 4.3. I mean, everybody's running 4.3s this year, but he runs like the wind, and he's that big and he's that tall and he's got that kind of wingspan. Look, dude, That guy is the number 4 pick. If Atlanta stays there, they're going to take Kyle Pitts.
Well, I think they're going to. I was going to say they're going to have to. I shouldn't tell them what to do and not to do, but you're going to have to because if you're still wanting to trade off Julio, you're still going to have another playmaker to kind of replace Julio. And what better person than Pitts?
No, that's the guy. Look, man, he might be the second best player in the draft. In fact, I think Kuiper has him as ranked his number 2 ranked player in this draft. So, look, you take that guy and you just throw it up to him, man. He's that kind of a talent. I think that would be their pick if they stay there. I think it's going to be really hard for them to turn down some offers. Maybe the Broncos. I don't know.
My thing
I
is,
think it's going to be Kyle Pitts. Let's say Atlanta stays right where they're at. They're going to take Kyle Pitts.
yeah, that's who I have in my mock. I got Pitts at 5 or at 4.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Last thing on 4, I just don't know. I just don't know from a Denver fan standpoint. Besides, I'm sure both this year and next year's first round, I'm sure would have to be involved.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Besides those 2, I don't know what else we would give up to get in that spot.
Well, let's say Atlanta's in the market for tight end.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say they're like, you know what, we need a tight end, and it just so happens that the Broncos have a good one that they could trade. So let's say they give up the 9, the Noah Fant, and maybe even this year's 2nd round pick, and to move up 5 spots. That might entice them to get off of that pick.
Ooh.
I know. Bet you get Justin Fields. You know what I mean? You get Justin Fields, bro. You get your guy.
Number 5, Cincinnati. Of course, this one is.
What? Are you just gonna gloss over that? Okay, look. Do you make that trade? Does that seem like something?
I'm making that trade, but I'm getting Trey Lance.
Trey Lance.
I'm telling you, dude.
Okay.
We'll get to 9.
I like him. I like him.
If we get any quarterback, that's the one besides Fields, even though I still think Ohio State quarterbacks are most busts. But he may be an exception. I don't know. We'll find out. But
yeah.
I don't know. I like Trey Lance's legs. He's more quicker.
Dude,
in regards
why is everybody so down on Justin Fields right now? Not to say that you're not down on him.
No, exactly.
But I mean, like, if Justin Fields is the 4th quarterback off the board, that kind of seems to me like a travesty.
If he's picked, let's just say we go, no way he gets below 10.
No. He drops to 9. I don't even think he gets past Carolina at 8.
Let's say Lawrence, Wilson, Jones. Let's just say Lance gets. If he gets the 5th drafted quarterback, that'd be a little surprising. I figured he would go. So I still have a feeling that Fritz take him. I don't know.
What's
I just
that?
have a feeling taking Justin Fields.
Who would? Atlanta?
But see, I think
San Francisco
potentially still get him too.
I just don't. I think Mac Jones is their guy in San Francisco. I know it sounds crazy, and I know like a lot of people.
System better though.
I mean, look, he's quick. I mean, yeah, he's accurate, dude. He's that guy. He's not gonna kill you with his feet. You don't need him to do that. You have an offense that's built to run right now. I mean, you got guys like Brandon Ayuk. Dude, get Brandon Ayuk the rock in space and quick and let him run. Oh man, dude, baller. Debo Samuel, you get him the rock and like just quick. Get them. Just look, run the offense. It's essentially a West Coast offense that Alabama runs. You know, so you don't have to change much. You just plug and play Mac Jones into that system, and you have playmakers just almost like you had at Alabama, and you run the score, man. And all you have to do is score 25 points. with that defense, and it's they're gonna go to the playoffs.
That's a tough division too out there,
It is,
but it's doable.
but I think Seattle's down a little bit.
They're going to be the next. I
Um,
think they're going to be kind of age. They're starting to age.
yeah, they're showing their age. They're showing their age, and they've missed on some draft picks lately. Like they don't. I don't. I love Pete Carroll, but man, those draft picks that he's being like just head scratchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not, and their offensive line isn't really that good. So I mean, that division is you could have it. You could have it with good with look with quarterback play, with proficient quarterback play, with just getting the ball to the playmakers on time. I think you win that division.
Oh, easily, easily.
Who do you have? The Rams. They just got Matthew Stafford.
Which I'm glad Denver didn't. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I still think Arizona's a team to beat.
I don't know. I think San Francisco's a sleeping giant, dude. They just need that quarterback, and I think that's why they gave up as much as they did to go get him because they know it too.
Going number 5, Cincinnati. Desperately need an offensive lineman for Mr. Joe Burrow. They need a wide receiver. I've been hearing Jamal. I got my my mock draft is Jamar Chase out of LSU. Even though I personally think Slater at the offensive tackle out of Northwestern would be my pick. Is this where Sneal falls from Oregon, the right tackle out of Oregon?
I would hope so. I would hope they took. I hope they take Penny Sewell. Because I love Joe Burrow, man. I just love that guy. By the way, talking about Ohio State quarterbacks, he was an Ohio State quarterback.
Ohio State. I did say this on Dan's podcast. I think he had to say that as a clip. He's the only quarterback from Ohio State to win a national championship in quite some time. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's look. I like Joe Burrow, man. I love that kid, and he balled out too before his injury this year. So it just goes to show you what you need in that on that team is somebody who to protect their guy, and you got to get Penny Sewell. That's your guy, man. And I know it's tough. I know it's going to be like to give up a playmaker like Jamar Chase, but you got to protect your real playmaker, and that's Burrow. So please, Cincinnati, do the right thing and take Penny Sewell and take a first round or a second round receiver or playmaker, please.
I think it's the right thing to do.
Or trade it to the Broncos. Trade that pick to the Broncos. Hey, we have some playmakers that you might want.
Yeah, we got a lot.
And we could trade you. I mean, okay. Yeah, I don't want to even put together a package to move up to the 5 spot, but it would look a lot like the package I would move up for the 4. We have playmakers on offense kind of falling out of our pockets. We just need a quarterback to get him the rock.
Hey, wait till we get to the 9th spot, Clyde. Just wait.
There's going to be conversation. The 5 pick, I know nobody's talking about the 5 pick being moved. I haven't seen any mock drafts where Cincinnati moves off that number 5 pick. Why not? Why not? I think Cincinnati, that might be the first trade of the draft, to be honest with you.
Well, it could easily be. I mean, if you're Cincinnati, you're looking at the top 4. And, well, I mean, okay, let's rephrase it. You're looking at the top, the top 1, 2, 3, at least the first 4 picks. For the exception, depends on what Atlanta does at 4. They're going to be thinking, well, all these should be quarterbacks off the board. They actually had to play a huge hand in the draft more than we realize.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you can get what your team desperately needs at the 9 pick. And a guy like Penny Sewell, he might fall to 9.
Yep.
So you might get, 2 for 1 on that deal by trading down.
Here's an interesting one. Of course, Miami at 6. Could this be potentially Jamar Chase? Give Tua some weapons to throw to. Or
Absolutely. Yeah. Or Devontae Smith. Man,
okay. Give him
look,
the Alabama core again.
look, you got to take Jamar Chase. I mean, that would just be, wouldn't that be a fun team to
Miami's
watch?
gonna be a good team to watch.
They're going to be fun to watch, man. Especially if you get Jamar Chase down there. And I'm not sold on Tua. I don't know. I think they might be in a quarterback. They might be in a position to draft a quarterback and shock the whole wide world, man. But I think right now is where you go Jamar Chase, number 6 overall to Miami.
That I think Jamar or Devontae, I think is who my mock one is. I think that will be good for them. Lions at 7.
So if we say that that 5 that the Bengals take Penny Sewell, then I think 6 is going to be Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase is the first wide receiver.
Yeah. I say absolutely. I say if they go offensive tackle, which the right thing to do.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do, Cincinnati. Call Mike Brown and tell him to draft Penny Sewell. Stop it. Just call him and tell him that he's Anthony Munoz's nephew. Hey, this is Anthony Munoz's nephew, right? I did not know that. Get him. Let's get him on the book. Let's start that just for Joe Burrow's sake, man.
I like that one.
Okay.
Detroit.
All right. Yeah. So 7. Detroit Lions.
7. Is this where Devontae goes? If Jamar goes to Miami, Sewell goes to 5. Is this Devontae? Give Jared Goff some weapons, or is this offensive lineman? Could this potentially be Slater from Northwestern? Or can we?
Who knows with Detroit? You know what I mean? Who knows?
There's 17 games now. They could easily go 0-17, break their own record.
Oh man, let's be nice. Wait, let's not be mean. But who knows what Detroit is going to do? They're in a mess. Man, they might be a bigger mess than the Denver Broncos right now. The ownership, just top down, they are an absolute train wreck. Who's their coach? Oh, Dan Campbell. They're going to chew off kneecap. Who's a guy who's going to chew off your kneecap in this year's draft?
Yep.
Chew off your kneecap kind of guy. It's not a receiver. It's probably one of these guys. It's probably Slater. It's probably an offensive lineman.
I think it's perfectly for Slater. Give Goff some weapons or give him some protection, I should say.
Yeah, you need nasty. The Detroit Lions need to be a nasty team, like a mean team. You don't want to go play them kind of team. Like back when they had Sue, that needs to be their identity. And I think that's what Dan Campbell was talking about when he was talking about he needs guys that'll get knocked down and bloody but get up chewing on a kneecap or something like that. I don't remember his press conference.
It was something like that. Now, who wouldn't want to?
Yeah. Okay. So who matches that kind of mentality in this year's draft? I think that's Slater.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how they go. That would be the way I would go if I were them.
I got them as Slater.
Do you trade out of that pick? Do you trade out of it? This might be a trade.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, I think this is where I don't think Detroit takes the 7th pick. I don't think they make the pick.
I could see them trading down. I just don't know who would go in the middle of the pack. Who would go?
Well, who do we have off the board right now? Do we have Fields off the board yet?
No.
Okay, or Lance.
Nope.
Yeah, this is where they trade. This is a trade. I think this is Denver Broncos.
This could be Denver.
This could be Denver.
Because at
I
least
think.
my
Look, if Trey Lance,
not as high.
if Justin Fields is on the board at number 7, they move up to Detroit's pick.
You would have to, because the fact that you're worried that Carolina could easily take Lance, assuming that that's their guy.
They just traded for Darnold?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean they're still?
Because
still could go quarterback.
Rumors of that Bridgewater could be out in Carolina.
Yeah. I've heard the rumors that Bridgewater to Denver.
That's what I keep hearing too.
Oh man, you know what? It wouldn't. Golly, we're almost at the Denver. Let's let Slater get the pick at 7, but I don't think that Detroit makes this pick. Let's get on to Denver.
8.
Carolina. Who does Carolina take? Trey Lance.
Could this be Devontae Smith?
I think this is Trey Lance.
Ooh.
Yeah, I might not go to Carolina. It might not be Carolina's pick, but I don't think Trey Lance falls past 8.
Oh, no way.
So at some point, we're going to have to make a Trey Lance pick. So let's slot. I want to slot Trey Lance at the number 8 pick. I don't know if it goes to Carolina, but I would say Carolina take. They're in a quarterback. They could go quarterback. So let's say Carolina takes Trey Lance.
Here's now we got number 9, Denver. The fun part. Now here's the text. And people, if you don't follow me on Twitter, definitely do it on air with Mike. I think he's going to post there. And of course, air_podcast for the podcast. A few weeks ago, I posted something about how we've gotta build around Drew Lock.
Oh.
And I think someone that's currently on the show said, "Gotta question mark."
Right? Is that what I said?
I have to find it. I'm going to find it while we talk.
Oh man, yeah, you know why I'm bald? I had a full head of hair before Drew Lock came to Denver. You realize this? I look like Trevor Lawrence. I've been pulling my hair out for weeks and months, and dude, I don't know. Okay, Drew Lock. What is the problem with Drew Lock? Because he was the 30-something ranked quarterback out of 32.
Okay, here's the text. Or here's the tweet.
Okay, show me.
So everybody, I tweeted out, "This is my QB, exclamation point. Got to build around him, plain and simple. Hashtag Broncos country, hashtag Broncos draft." I use a GIF of Drew Lock flexing for whatever reason.
Oh.
And then I got it. So here, obviously, here's the issue I have with him. We've found some good flashes. He started the 2019 season 4-1, end of the year, of course, losing to the Chiefs. Okay, no big deal. Whatever. So a lot of expectations. Now you hit 2020, get injured against Pittsburgh. He's out for a few weeks. And then the rest is history. He's showing some good flashes, but he's also shown a lot of hiccups.
Look, man, he makes the same mistakes over and over and over and over again.
I'm going to still stick to my words, but here's the deal. Jerry Jeudy was frustrated with him a lot last year.
Look, dude, I don't think Jerry Jeudy likes him. I'm on the right. I don't think Jerry Jeudy likes him at all, man. Look, in that Raider game, the Week 17 game where Jerry Jeudy took 92 yards to the house.
Yep.
Look, dude, if one of my receivers took 92 to the house, I am running as fast as I can down to Jerry Jeudy in the other end zone, and I'm giving that guy a hug, and we are celebrating together because he just took a 10-yard route and turned it into a TD from 92 yards out against a division rival, right? And they did not even high five. They didn't even get near each other. They kind of celebrated on their own, but they never really came together. You know what I mean?
The interesting thing is,
But that's not the first time. That's just kind of like, why weren't they hugging?
Well,
Why wouldn't you hug it out?
it's funny that you said that because during the season, I kept reading these articles that Drew Lock actually is more of a distraction in the locker room than he is anything else. So I don't know if maybe his frustration of failing to know that he's another John Elway draft quarterback project that looks like it may not have worked out. I don't know. But it's just, I know he's working with Peyton Manning. That's fine and all. That's cool.
Yeah, no.
But
He worked with Peyton Manning last year, man.
I'm sure he probably worked with him, I'm sure, the year before that, too. I'm sure.
You know what I mean? Like, that's so what?
I'm gonna still stick with one more year. I know it's not long.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the problem. Well, first of all, in our mock, Justin Fields falls into their lap.
Right.
All right, that to me and to the whole world is a no-brainer pick. In reality, I don't think Justin Fields just falls into their lap. I think that's an absolute improbability. So either they pull the trigger or they don't. But the problem is with Drew Lock, it's hard to see. It's invisible. The problem with Drew Lock is not that he can't move around, that he doesn't have arm strength, that he doesn't have talent, that he hasn't started a bunch of games at in Missouri, and he doesn't come from a pedigree. He doesn't have all those things are obvious. Talent is obvious. The flashes are obvious. And yet, he's the 32nd ranked, 34th or 5th ranked quarterback in the NFL. And so his problem is invisible. And invisible problems are hard to fix to me. You see guys like you said, Paxton Lynch. He had all the talent in the world. He was dripping with talent, but his problem was invisible to us. You don't know how hard he works. You don't know where he's at. So you have to start kind of digging and scratching the surface. And then, so this is where my Twitter beefs have come. And where I have a problem is where I'm sorry, okay, look, I know it's an invisible issue with him. So let's dig deeper. So to me, that the COVID game where Hinton started, that to me is the biggest red flag for Drew Lock of all of them. And I know, I've had arguments where they're like, he came in on Tuesday. He got COVID on Tuesday. And he's coming on his day off and he's working hard and all this and that. Look, you come in on Tuesday, but you take a sick day on game day, homeboy, that's a problem. So to me, it shows that the dude cuts corners. He wasn't prepared. He hasn't been prepared. And that kind of, I mean, what else can you point to and say, that's the problem with Locke, let's fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And now there's reports coming out like, well, now he's determined. Now he's in the locker room. Now he's working. I come in and he's always working. Now he's working? Well, now it's time to work? So last year, when you had the whole world by the short and curlies, it wasn't time to work then. But now when you know that, hey, Justin Fields is on the board and the Broncos are on the clock, now it's time to work. That's where I have a problem. And I think he approached last year like he read his own press clippings, and that he approached last year like anointed. And he approached last year like he was Trevor Lawrence. and
he started last year, of course, coming off and I'll give him the credit for the 4-1 record, even though they were already out of the playoffs and half the teams they were playing was already either in the playoffs or they were mathematically out as well. The only concern I have with Drew, and I think this is where I'm kind of, I still, people are like, well, you're contradicting yourself. No, I still say one more year, but you still got to jump to another quarterback. I think last year what killed Drew and what he kind of took above your head, like you were saying, is he felt anointed because that quarterback room was horrible.
Well, there's that too. And there's
And
his best buddy is Brett Rippon, you know what I mean? But you're not um who's that? Doug Peterson. You're not Doug Peterson to Brett Favre. You know what I'm saying? You're not Brett Favre to Doug Peterson. You're not these guys. So you're not you don't get that. You have to work, guy. And for him to just not get it, it just kind of felt like I wasted my time as a Denver Broncos fan last year, rooting for that guy.
Yep.
And so I'll be honest with you, I'm pissed off at him. And I don't care if he plays one more down in Denver Broncos orange. I don't care. It won't hurt my feelings if they trade him for a 5th round pick to New England. I will be like, sayonara.
Could you see this potentially happen? Not so much first night, but let's say day 3. Could we potentially see? Let's just say, I don't care at this point. Let's just play devil's advocate. It's Fields. It could easily be Lance. Who knows? But it could be Lance, Fields. Doesn't matter. Just pick and choose. So we get 1 team. So could you potentially see day 2, day 3? I'll be in Arizona during the 2nd and 3rd day, so I have to go out there and watch it. But could we potentially see Locke being traded and then Bridgewater coming to Denver? Not so much Drew Lock goes to Carolina, but maybe he goes to a
New England,
New Orleans, more New England because they aren't really solidified at quarterback because of Cam Newton. But
absolutely, look, man. To me, I don't think the Denver Broncos want Drew Lock as their quarterback this year.
Well, I think we actually.
I don't think Sherman wants him as his quarterback this year.
Well, I don't think George Payton. I don't think he does either.
And there's a lot of this blowing bubbles at Drew Lock, talking about how hard he's working and that he's in the lab and all this. Listen, that is for trade. Dude doesn't have any trade value around the league. I mean, these guys are saying like, oh, you can trade him and you can move out and use him as a trade. He doesn't have trade value. He's like a 6th or 7th round pick at best right now. When you're the 35th ranked quarterback, starting quarterback in the NFL, that means you might not even be the 4th best quarterback in your division. And to be fair, Tyrod Taylor, I would much rather have Tyrod Taylor in 2020 than Drew Lock in 2020. So I would say they're blowing bubbles at Drew Lock to just try to get some sort of trade value from him. So to be honest with you, I see that being a very real possibility, and I think maybe even a reclamation project, maybe New England.
What about Houston?
They just picked up Tyrod, though.
Oh, that's right.
You know, so that's enough, dude. I totally forgot. Talk about a mess. That's another mess.
Well, I'm glad we're not going after Deshaun Watson because that could have gotten real bad real quick.
So I love Deshaun Watson. It sucks what's going on with what's going on right now, and it's hard to listen to and it's hard to watch. But man, I was dreaming of Deshaun Watson coming to Denver. Man.
Same here. Yep, same here.
And it's just unfortunate, but that ship has sailed, and that is, man, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow.
I know.
So in this scenario, we have Justin Fields falling into the lap of the Denver Broncos. I think that's a no-brainer pick. They take Justin Fields, and they don't have to do anything except stay at 9 to get him. That is a dream scenario for the Denver Broncos.
If they can hold off, I would, because I still think he's going to be at that 9th spot. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Look, man, I just don't see it happening. I think there's two. Look, Washington needs a quarterback. I don't know where they're picking. I think, 17, 18, 19. Oh, they're 20, right? 1920.
I believe so.
So you got Washington needs a quarterback. New England needs a quarterback.
Yeah, Washington's at 19.
And then you have who else do we have coming up? 10, 11, 12. Who are those guys? Who are those teams?
Chicago's at 10.
Oh, dude, they need a quarterback. So who else? Who else needs a quarterback?
Chargers are good at 13.
Yeah,
Eagles is interesting
Eagles need a quarterback, man.
because we still don't know what Jalen Hurts can do.
I think he's a good player. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he could. I think if you can upgrade that position, you take a Justin Fields. Yeah, I think you do. And also Jalen Hurts wasn't drafted by this new this new coach. So this new coach. He might not fit this guy. He might not fit the scheme, And I think Jalen Hurts might be a scheme guy.
I think he's
so. So Philadelphia might need a quarterback. So look, you have all these quarterback desperate teams right behind the Broncos, and you have 4 or 5 teams at the top of the draft. At least 4. I would argue 5. I would argue 6. I would argue 7. Those picks are available for trade. So let's say those dominoes start falling. You might have quarterbacks going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's a trick, man. And then here's another thing. Like you might, and if it does happen where teams leapfrog the Broncos and take quarterbacks, you might have to just roll with Drew Lock. And to be honest with you, man, as much as it pains me to say this, can you really? Oh my God, can you really go into the 2021 season with Drew Lock as your starting quarterback? Can you really? Look, you got Von Miller on a 1-year deal. You got these secondary, Kyle Fuller on a 1-year.
Kyle Fuller's on a 1-year deal. Bryce Callahan's contract expires at the end of this year.
He's on a 1-year.
I think his contract's up after this year, I believe.
He's on a 1-year deal. Juwan James is on a 1-year deal. The coach is on a 1-year deal, right? All of the coaches are on 1-year deals. Look, this team has a 1-year window. Like that's it. Okay, so you need to maximize this year. And if you think that Vic Fangio wants to put his 1-year window and roll the dice with the guy who we saw last year, I just don't think you can go into this season with Drew Lock as your starting quarterback. I just don't think that you can do that to this fan, to everybody. I just don't think you can do it. And it's tricky because there's really what other options do you have?
Well, there's not much options at this rate. I don't know who's left in the free agency. And at this point, I don't know if I would even build around them. I don't even know what next year's draft class would even consistently look like. But
well, here's the trick too. Another thing you got to think about is there's going to be some big names next year come available. I mean, say what you want about Deshaun Watson. Next year might be the year that he gets moved. All right, and next year, we might just forget about everything that happened this year. It might just be water under the bridge by next year. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going on there? Russell Wilson. Russell might become available next year. You might have Aaron Rodgers become available next year. I know it's as crazy as that sounds. So there's gonna be options in 2022 at the quarterback position. And if you go with a guy like Fields or Trey Lance, those options may not be, and you may not want those options at that point.
kind of.
But next year, I think next year, Drew Lock. I don't think Drew Lock is going to be a Denver Bronco.
No, I don't think so. I know looking at quarterbacks, according to ProFootballNetwork.com, players eligible for a fifth-year option in 2022 is Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, and that's it. Otherwise, you got Jameson Winston's out there, Cam Newton, of course. I think Big Ben's probably going to retire.
Yeah,
Tyrod Taylor, and of course Andy Dalton. So,
those are going to be. I mean, none of those guys strike me as.
They're mostly older guys.
Yeah, they're gone. They're whatever. But like, never underestimate the power of politics, especially inside the locker room. I don't think Russell Wilson wants to play this year in Seattle.
No.
And here's another aspect of this. So let's say you go into this year with Drew Lock as your quarterback, and he plays fine, and he plays okay, and he's not the 35th ranked quarterback, but he's 23rd or 24th. Now what do you do? You know what I mean? Now what do you do? Okay, man, well, he improved. And he's still on his rookie deal. Now what do you do? So the worst thing that can happen to Broncos country is that Drew Lock is serviceable.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Not good, not great, but not terrible either. Like I want him to be very, 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 very bad, or very, 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 very good. Because if you're in the middle, it's the worst. So, I mean, yeah, he can, and there's people, and I see it Bronco Twitter all the time, like, he can improve. Like, yeah, that's a bigger problem. You don't want him, you don't want that. You want him to be god awful. And this year, you finally get an opportunity to move on from a god awful, maybe mediocre quarterback. Just get off of him. Move on. Do what you can. Get out from underneath it. And do what you can to get a quarterback now, because the worst thing in the world that can happen is he throws 26 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, and they go 9-8.
Yeah,
that is the worst. That's the worst, absolute worst scenario for the Denver Broncos next year.
So to finish off the 9th spot,
Justin Fields. Take Justin Fields.
Let's play advocate. What's your reaction? Like I said, I'm gonna stay up at least to watch Denver before I go to bed, but because I got an hour trip to Arizona. But what's your reaction? Let's just say I'm looking at a mock draft right here. Micah Parsons, linebacker, Penn State. What's your reaction? I've heard he has. Wonderful.
So,
I've heard he has off-field issues. That's the biggest thing I've been keeping.
What I've heard is that he dragged his Schwanz shtick on some guys' faces when they were being held down. Okay, like, that's gross. Come on, man. Like, but and God, in this age of cancel culture and Me Too and all of this, not like, look, yes, it's terrible. It's awful. Cancel the guy. But, dude, he's 19, 20 years old in a locker room, and it's gross, and he's disgusting. I don't know what to say, man. I mean, he's not going to do that in the pros.
Well, no.
He's not going to hold down Juwan James and put his dick on his face. You know what I'm saying? And he's definitely not going to do that. You know? So this ain't gonna happen again. It is never gonna happen again. Not in the pros. You're not gonna come to Denver and do that nonsense. You know what I mean? That is not going to happen.
What's one player that I won't do much about it?
Bro, I would not be happy with it. I mean, he's got a ton of talent. He's awesome, but dude, no. I mean, I would be lukewarm. Lukewarm at best. I mean, I get it. The defense would be so dope, but we still have We still have like Drew Lock. His number should be question mark. You know how they're changing numbers now? He should just be an emoji. It should be like a sad face emoji. That should be his number. His number should be sad face emoji. Drew Lock. Like, what's that emoji that's quizzical?
Yeah, quizzical one, the confusion one.
The confusion one. With the tongue hanging out?
And
that should be his number. So if that's what we're doing, dude, like we can't go there. We gotta go quarterback. We gotta do everything we can to get a quarterback.
My mock draft, Trey Lance to Denver, but Justin Fields I'll be glad with as well.
Justin Fields is my guy, dude. If we can get Justin Fields, I'll be beyond ecstatic.
I'll buy me a Fields jersey.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. You'll be using your Drew Lock jersey to change oil in, like my Paxton Lynch jersey. Are you wearing the 3 right now?
I'm wearing Drew Lock.
Are you wearing the 3 right now? My God.
There you go.
Oh my God.
My quarterback until proven.
That better be a Bram Stater. Is that a Bram Stater jersey? Dude, this guy. Bram Stater. Okay. No, maybe Rich Carlos.
We got
where are we at now? What pick are we on?
10. We got
10. Who do we go with? Did we go with Justin Fields?
Yeah, Denver goes Justin
Fields. Yes. I'm at the parade. I'm already at a parade, dude. I'm high five. I don't care what anything else happens in this entire draft. I don't care. You're gonna be on the road. You're gonna be happy, dude. No drinking and driving. Do not celebrate.
No, I can't be doing that. I'll do that when I get
alcohol on the road. Don't be doing that.
But there.
I wouldn't blame you for thinking about it. If we got Justin Fields at 9, oh my goodness.
No, I would be honest. Just keep tabs on my Twitter. I'll probably be celebrating on Twitter.
Oh yeah, you will. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. I know you will. Okay, man. All right, where are we at? Number 10.
Real quick, Dolphins are
Chicago.
Alabama's wide receiver Jalen Waddle over LSU's Jamar Chase with their first pick.
Yeah. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Number 10, Chicago.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Chicago desperately needs a quarterback. I don't know. I think
well, we just took their quarterback, so
exactly. They're gonna have to go. I think I could easily see because technically Dallas has 10, so I guess they got them falling out.
Oh, they got 10?
Dallas could go corner that Patrick Surtain from Alabama. I could see
great pick.
I could see them going.
Brilliant pick. That's a great pick.
Yeah, I could see them going that. Patrick Surtain fits that Dallas whatever.
Yeah, that whatever for sure. But I mean, he would look good with a star on his helmet.
Yeah,
I think
he ain't gonna win games, but I mean,
he would sell a lot of jerseys.
Well, yeah, he'll make some good money too.
Oh yeah.
Except for how because with Dak Prescott's contract and Ezekiel Elliott's contract and everybody else's contract, I don't know how they can afford anybody, but
I think you got to get rid of Zeke, though, right? What do you do if your Dallas is a mess?
What's his trade value? Let's be honest, real quick. What's his trade value? 3rd round pick?
You got to take on that contract, dude.
Cheerios?
No, dude. Talk about a guy like Micah Parsons that you don't want on your squad. Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott is that guy. So Zeke Elliott was Micah Parsons before Micah Parsons was Micah Parsons. And you know that.
Would Zeke Elliott enjoy Micah Parsons doing that to him?
I think, look, dude, Zeke Elliott might get a party started at his place in like Richardson. And he might have like a line of people laying down, waiting for that to happen. It might be a slip and slide where it just might be slippery folks slippery foreheads, just all the way down, and he just running like. I don't even want to do it. It'll be debauchery. If they got Micah Parsons, it would be debauchery. Dude, you get those two in the room together, man. Mess. That's a mess. Get rid of Zeke Elliott. Get rid of him.
Well, they're going to have to if they want to keep a team together with their godforsaken contracts. God almighty.
Doing, man. Speaking of slippery, dude, that guy fumbled what 9 times this year?
Yeah.
Not like a bunch, dude. Butterfingers. And they're paying him that much money?
Yeah, way grossly overweight.
Dude, he's just a mess, dude. He's a problem.
That whole organization, I don't like Dallas and never will, but that whole organization is a debacle. Until Jerry Jones gives up at least 65% of his control, that team won't ever.
Come on, man. That's a bad team. That's a bad team. Oh. And they're gonna take a really, really good football player at 10, and it's gonna do nothing for them.
New York Football Giants at 11.
Yep. Also a team that needs a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Also a team that needs a quarterback. So that could be one of those teams that jumps Denver, that really tries to jump Denver. I don't know what they have to offer in trade value. I don't know what they have to offer in trades, but that might be a team that, Denver might want to look out for. Let's see. The Giants.
This mock draft has them taking J.C. Horn, corner out of South Carolina. So they're going defense first round.
All right, man. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I mean, those cornerback is probably the 4th most important position on the field.
And so everybody that knows is what I'm reading off of the mock draft. It's off of sportsnot.com if you want to check him out.
Can J.C. Horn tackle? Can he play the slot?
I think he could.
I mean, that's where you need. I think the slot corner is going to be the new LCB. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the guy that's going to make or break teams from now on. I think you need a slot cornerback. I think that's going to be priority number 1 in the secondary in this new age of the NFL. So if you can play the slot, if you can play inside and outside, I think that makes you so much more valuable. So whatever cornerback can do that, I think you're going to see them shoot up draft boards. And you're going to see it, you're going to see that kid. Who's the kid from Northwestern? That cornerback from Northwestern. Do you have, I don't have a list on me, man. But he might be one of those sleeper picks that goes in the top 15 that you're like, who, what, they reach for him. And then he becomes the rookie of the year.
Greg Newsome II.
Yeah, look out for that kid. That kid might actually be a sleeper top 12 pick. So do not sleep on him being a top 10, 15 round, top 10 pick. Top 10, let's say 15.
Mm-hmm.
I bet he goes between 11 and 15 in this year's draft. And I will not be surprised because he can play inside and outside. Yeah. And there is so much to be said for that.
Well, and Pat Fitzgerald, he always has his players ready and always obviously primed as well from the NFL. We're at number 12 with the Eagles. This one's interesting how they have this mock draft. They have Sewell all the way down to 12 to Philly.
Travesty.
That's a slap in the face if I'm Sewell.
That's a trap. Look, he's not. No. There are going to be wide receivers that they could take. I don't. Who did they take last year? Who was that? They took a receiver, Jalen Reagan.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, exactly. We don't know.
The guy from
I mean,
TCU.
yeah, he's fast. They took the fast guy. You don't even know his name. So they might be this might be Jalen Waddle right here.
Or it could be Micah Parsons. Never.
I guess we haven't picked him yet, have we? Micah Parsons? I'll take Micah Parsons for the Eagles at number 13. Because why not?
He's gonna still be playing with Dallas.
Yeah, dude. Look, you would rather Micah Parsons meet Ezekiel Elliott in a hole when Micah Parsons is in Philly, but if you got Micah Parsons in Dallas and he meets Ezekiel Elliott in the hole, that's a whole nother story, man. And that is not what you want. So I would say, look, let's take Micah Parsons at number 13 for the Philadelphia Eagles for the love of everything that's holy.
Hey, Jalen Hurts, watch out. Number 13, LA Chargers.
Chargers.
Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle, ball tech.
Good pick.
Well, they finally got a quarterback, a very good one, Justin Herbert. You got to protect him.
Man, that's the beauty of having a guy that you know you have a guy. You know what I'm saying? You know your guy is your guy. Now you can take the best player available.
Oh, absolutely. This and not going back to Denver, but I got to on this one. If you're going that way, do you literally think in the back of your head, I should have waited one more year to get a quarterback in Justin Herbert?
Because instead of taking Drew Lock,
that was his quarterback before he decided to come back one more year at Oregon.
Oh man, here's the thing, dude. John Elway thought Joe Flacco was going to be serviceable, and yeah, man, no, that was a problem. So they thought that they could develop Drew Lock behind Joe Flacco. So, I mean, the pick in hindsight makes perfect sense. I love the Drew Lock pick when they took him. They took we had the veteran already in place. He was, and he was just going to show up and be the backup and learn and do everything he could to learn how to be a pro. And Joe Flacco was a train accident, and I think Joe Flacco being as bad as he was, and just the wheels came off of that whole system and that whole plan, and the plan fell apart when Joe Flacco fell apart, and then everything changed at that point, and that's what makes me so mad. But man, Drew Lock had it, dude. He had it. He had the world. He had the opportunity that only comes once in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And a dream that only comes once in a lifetime for just a lucky few. And I mean, there's guys who all they needed was a chance. All they ever needed was a chance. And they would have taken that and ran with it. And that's why I'm so down on him. Like he didn't run with it, man. He had his chance and he blew it. And I'm mad at and I'm pissed off at him for that. And so, having said all that, like, man, he had the world, dude. Now what do we do? And now we play. We should have done this, or we should have done that, or we could have done this, or we could have done that. When
it goes back to that, what I still think kind of concerns me is Drew Lock, a Chiefs fan. He could be sabotaging this whole thing to begin with.
No, man, come on. I'm not gonna go there. I don't
say that.
I don't like Drew Lock, but he's not that guy. He's not that guy.
No, I don't think he's either. But no, jokes aside, this year we should be in a position, and even last year, but this year we should be in a position to where now we're getting our best player we need instead of
Exactly.
We don't know. We have
Amen.
the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, we should if we had the quarterback, we wouldn't be taking the pick at 9. There wouldn't be any question about who we're taking. We're worried about who the best linebacker is, or the best offensive guard is, or the best tackle is. Man, how nice was that, by the way? Last draft in 2020, coming into last year, going, okay, we just take the best player available, and we're good. And we took Jerry Jeudy, and it was like, yeah, we got Jerry Jeudy. Now we're building something, right? And then this year, it's like, wait a minute. Now we got to kind of start over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's so infuriating. It's so infuriating.
Well, it's just frustrating. I mean, it's overall, it's just frustrating.
And it is. And you know what? And you know what's going to happen, man. And I just need to come to grips with this, is that it may be Drew Lock.
Mm-hmm.
God, man. I don't think it's. Man, I hope it's Gardner Minshew. We're talking about Gardner Minshew right now. Look, who's a better quarterback right now? Right today? Gardner Minshew or Drew Lock?
Gardner, but wouldn't be by much.
But would you take Gardner Minshew right now over Drew Lock?
I would have. Oh, absolutely.
So if you, yeah, you would, and I think, Gardner Minshew, they benched him on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
They benched him to get Trevor Lawrence this year.
Yep.
They benched him because they knew that they would win football games with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. So when they benched him, that sealed the deal for the Trevor Lawrence pick. But that doesn't mean that they benched him because he's bad.
Mm-hmm.
They benched him because he's decent. And now they have they're in a position to take the best, a generational talent, because they did bench him. But that doesn't mean that he was a bad quarterback. That actually means that he was a good quarterback. So that might actually be somebody that we can trade for, maybe a 4th-round pick, maybe even a 3rd-round pick. That'll be tough. Let's say a 4th-round pick. It would not shock me if the Denver Broncos traded a 4th-round pick for Gardner Minshew after they take Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall.
No, I could see that
on draft. So let's say they package a 4th and, I don't know, one of their 7ths or something like that, get Gardner Minshew here. That, to me, might make sense for this 1 year, and roll the dice with Gardner and see what he can do. But I think the ship is set. I don't think you can, if you're Vic Fangio, I don't think with a straight face you can go into your final year of your deal with Drew Lock again as your quarterback. I cannot see Vic Fangio signing off on that. I can't see it.
I got a good question for you after we do the end the show. Before we end after all the draft.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting one. A buddy of mine, he says no, but it's worth a thought. Number 14, Minnesota Vikings. They got Jalen Phillips, the edge out of Miami, Florida. I don't know much about this guy. I know they do need a pass rusher.
Good pick. He reminds me of Chubb a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like Chubb. I've seen him play. I've seen just YouTube videos of him. Like I've gone down a rabbit hole and looked at him. He's a player, man, and that would be a good fit in Minnesota. So that's a good pick.
Honestly, while I'm flopping back down, I wouldn't mind us trading for Bridgewater. I wouldn't give up much though. Give you that veteran guy.
No, I like Bridgewater too, and obviously George Payton likes Bridgewater because he's a Minnesota guy. I like Bridgewater. I think he's more of a backup, though.
Oh, well, yeah. Unless for what?
So
Number
I don't think you can sign off if you're Vic Fangio. Do you sign off on Bridgewater as your quarterback going into the year next year? Yeah, it's tough, man. Look, it's coming down to a whole lot of we got to get a rookie quarterback. It just makes the most sense. We're in the best position to get a rookie quarterback right now. And we can get one of the three. We're going to get a pick between one of three players, one of three quarterbacks. Well, I say one of two. We're going to get one of two. We're either going to get Trey Lance or we're going to get Justin Fields. And I think we either trade up to 4 or we trade up to 5 to get our guy. But I think that the Denver Broncos move up to 4 or 5 to get him.
Is it safe?
And I think it's going to be Fields.
Is it safe to say you think? Well, I should say, is it safe to say to think Denver's going to make that move after San Francisco makes that selection? Because by then, we already know it's either going to be Lance or Jones. If it's Lance, let's go ahead and make that move because you may have Fields go to whoever, Atlanta for example.
Yes. Look, man, I know that everybody. I know that there's a question mark, and is it going to be Mac Jones? There's going to be Trey. I think the NFL knows that it's going to be Mac Jones. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think everybody already knows that that's where they're going to go. So I think there's probably a plan in place for either the 4 or the 5 pick for Justin Fields. And who knows? I think they're probably just putting together packages right now to see what makes the most sense to move into that spot. I don't think that Atlanta, I think really, really wants Pitts. I think they want Kyle Pitts. So they might have to. How do you get Kyle Pitts if you're Atlanta?
You couldn't go too far down. I know that.
Can't go too far, man.
Yeah.
Cincinnati might mess around and take Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that wouldn't be a bad pick either. That'd be like, I get it.
Yeah.
I hope he has time to throw the ball to him. But it wouldn't shock me if Kyle Pitts went 5. So it's going to be one of those things where you got to get a player like Noah Fant in the trade. So if you can package, let's say Noah Fant and a first and our 9 and maybe like the 40 and the second round pick and maybe even a first rounder next year, that's a lot to give up. But let's say Fant, the 9 and the 40 for the number 4 to take Justin Fields.
Not a bad one.
Right? And then who do you have at 9 following that? So you have your pick. You might get Penny Sewell right there at 9. Or Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith. So I mean, there's a lot of playmakers at 9 that make a lot of sense for Atlanta. And if they could get like a Fant and a Devontae Smith in this draft, and whoever they pick up at 40, I mean, that makes a lot of sense for them. And it would be really, really tough to pass up. You know what I mean? And that makes a lot of sense for them because they're looking at tight end. Let's say they want Kyle Pitts, and they're like, man, it would be tough to pass up on Kyle Pitts, and we know that he's not going to be there at 9 because he doesn't slip past Carolina at 8. If Kyle Pitts is on the board at 8, they throw their back out running that card up to the death. So I would say, look, you're going to have to give up Noah Fant to Atlanta to move up to that 4 pick, just to alleviate the pain of losing out on Pitts. So if you can make that trade and stomach that loss, I think that's what you do.
Hmm. That was
I know that's tough. Oh yeah, dude. But you have Justin Fields.
number 15. Number 15,
Well,
Mike.
so and look, and now you can justify Vic Fangio's job going into next year and say, look, I have a rookie quarterback. We started over with a new, we improved. Now it's starting to roll. Now we can roll, right? So now you have a rookie quarterback cushion to give him an extra year. It almost saves Vic Fangio's ass
Oh,
if you go rookie quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's probably the hope in what Broncos country is and what Peyton is probably doing. They had all kind. They tried to get Stafford and they didn't get him, but they didn't want to give up too much for him. I think they've come this far not making any quarterback moves because they know they're going to do something in the draft, and they have to do something in the draft. So I think this draft is. I think they're going to move up to 4 with Atlanta, and they're going to take Justin Fields.
I could see that. I think the 4th spot, I think, is where they're going to probably land. 15, Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Miami. Wide receiver from Alabama to Miami at 15. I think that's a good pick. 16, Arizona, Caleb Farley. I know the corner of Virginia Tech. I know a lot of people had him way in the pre mock drafts to Denver. I think his health issues, medical issues, is a huge concern to a lot of teams.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to take him in the first round.
No.
That'd be a hard pick for me in the first round.
If we happen to go that route, I'll probably cry myself to sleep.
7. I think Caleb Farley falls. I think this is where you take, instead of going Caleb Farley here, you go that Newsome kid. Mm-hmm. I think that's where the Newsome kid leapfrogs Caleb Farley, and he goes 15 to who are we talking about? Arizona. I think Newsome is the pick for Arizona.
I like that pick too. Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas, Christian Barmore, defensive tackle, Alabama.
Good pick. Solid pick.
18, Atlanta, Pay edge from Michigan. An edge off of Michigan.
Kwity Paye. Okay.
All right.
Good football player.
The 19th pick, the Washington football team, or the Washington Redskins, however you want to look at him. Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota.
Ooh, he's a baller. I like him. That's one of the. He's a good player. He's going to be a good locker room guy. I like that guy a lot.
20th pick in the mock draft, of course, via the trade with Chicago. Dallas gets Zavon Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa, which is just about an hour and a half up northwest from here.
What do you think, man?
That kid can play.
Yeah, is he a baller? I think so too. He's a little bit undersized though, isn't he?
He's about 6'4", 240-ish, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good linebacker size.
The good thing about him is he can can rush, but he's also a good drop back.
Okay, yeah, I love that. In Chicago. If you can, that's a good pick for Chicago if they can get him.
Indianapolis Colts, Samuel Cosme, the offensive tackle from Texas.
Don't know anything about him.
Oh, I don't know.
Probably pretty big. Probably some corn fed. He probably eats a lot of beef. He's probably got the sand in the pants. He's got a lot of sand in the pants, I bet you.
All I know is that OU's defensive lineman tore him apart, so I don't know. But anyway, 22, I'm sure he'd do well in the pros. 22, Tennessee Titans, Devontae Smith. I don't see Devontae going that down.
No way, man. Look, Devontae Smith might go at 9 to Atlanta.
23, New York Jets, Greg Newsome out of Northwestern.
No, he's already taken.
24, Najee Harris, running back, Alabama to Pittsburgh.
Ooh. Good pick.
25,
Man, that's a good pick.
25, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle, Oklahoma State.
Great pick. I love that guy. If the Broncos stay at 40 and Tevin Jenkins is on the clock, go get him.
Take him.
Oh yeah, baller. He looks like he's read a lot of books.
I'm sure yeah.
You know, he just looks smart, and he looks like he'll like he got pushed into lockers when he was in like 4th grade, and then he became like a monster, and now he's like mad about all those kids in 4th grade pushing him into lockers, and now he just wants to just tear their heads off.
You think Micah Parsons was his bully?
Dude, I think Tevin Jenkins wants a piece of Micah Parsons. He wants to just tear that guy up. Yeah, Tevin Jenkins is the guy.
No, I like that pick if that was to come to pass. 26 in the mock draft, Green Bay, I guess, makes a trade with Cleveland. Elijah Vera Tucker, guard out of USC.
I've heard he's great. I'm down.
USC's too much West Coast. They play too late for me to watch.
Did the Packers just take another guard?
Yeah. At least it's not another quarterback.
What are you doing? Dude, get somebody who can catch the ball. Are there any tight ends or any receivers that are available right here for the Packers?
Apparently not, because this is an interesting one. I'm scrolling through real quick. They got two wide receivers to finish out the draft.
No, look,
they're at 27.
Go get a first round running back, running back, receiver, or tight end, please. Probably not a running back. Let's go, dude. Maybe running back. Why not? Let's go running back.
Can you imagine Najee?
Well, he already got taken, right?
Yeah.
In this hypothetical draft. So let's say, who's that kid that from NC, North Carolina?
Oh, Michael Carter.
I don't know.
I think that's him. The one in Denver, the Broncos country's all wanting for us to get him.
Right. Yeah.
I think it is Michael Carter. I could be wrong though.
I want the Packers to take somebody who can catch the football.
Let's see.
Or run the football. But preferably catch. Or tight end. Is there any tight ends? Any tight ends that are projected this round? Nothing?
Nope.
Well, I think they reach for one then. I think that this is the year they take a receiver.
27, Baltimore, Jason Uwa, edge, Penn State.
It's a reach.
28, New Orleans mock draft. This is, interesting.
For Baltimore, real quick. Baltimore, I read something that Baltimore is going to trade for Julio. That's the word around the campfire. So if they trade for Julio, does that change the pick? I know it's a defensive player, but does that change the pick?
Assuming that was to take place, I would assume it would have to, because that would be Atlanta's pick at that point.
Well, I don't know if they're going to trade the first for him.
True.
Let's say Baltimore stays at that pick, but gets Julio somehow. Who does that change? I think what's his name from Penn State? I think that's a reach, man. I think he might go in the second or maybe even the third round. I don't really like that guy. I mean, he's got all kinds of skill and talent, but I don't think he's a good football player.
Let's see. 28, New Orleans Saints pick in the mock draft, of course, Kyle Trask, quarterback, Florida. If it's the Kyle Trask that my Sooner heart, go for it. Be my guest.
Whatever.
29,
Got it.
Cleveland Browns, Jeremiah Uwosi Moore, I guess
Georgia.
say his name.
Oh, yeah.
That kid can play.
He's a baller. Now, I would take him over that Penn State kid. So let's say I want him to go to Baltimore and pair up with Patrick Queen and be in the middle of that defense. So I would take that pick and move him up 3 spots.
The mock draft has Jacksonville again coming back in the first round, trading with Buffalo.
Really?
Jacksonville selects Trayvon Moade, safety, TCU.
Ooh, good pick.
To
Dang.
finish off the mock draft, number 31, Baltimore, Elijah Moore, wide receiver, Mississippi.
Elijah Moore. Okay, let's put him to the Packers. Is that too? I would love to see the Packers pick him.
Jordan Love, assuming Jordan Love's their quarterback. And Green Bay's an organization, and so is Pittsburgh, that you don't really know your quarterback for the future.
Yeah, that's a good point. I say you gotta get Rodgers some.
You gotta give him some weapons,
man.
and
let him just be great.
Well, you're gonna have to. I mean, because that North it ain't gonna get anything easier. And then to finish off the mock draft, Tampa Bay, your wonderful Super Bowl champs, Rondale Moore, wide receiver, Purdue.
Okay.
Decent.
I mean, what holes do they have to fill? Right? I think they're returning 21 to 22 starters. Man.
Yeah, they got quite a bit.
So I don't like a receiver in the first round for them, but I mean, I'll take. I would like to maybe just make their special teams better. Get somebody who can tackle and run and play special teams. So yeah, there you go. Good draft.
Finish the show, but before we do, we've got 15 minutes at best. I'm sure it'll take up time. So here's two options, 2 questions. The first one, I'm gonna give you an option. Let's just say Lance. I sent it to a buddy of mine. He just never responded. I guess I must have picked him off or something. I don't know. Lance, Fields, quarterbacks are gone. Play devil's advocate.
Oh, okay.
Devontae
at 9.
At 9.
Okay.
Devontae Smith, Patrick Surtain, Sewell. Your 3 biggest needs. Who do you go with? Do you do Devontae Smith as a receiver for your buddy Drew Lock?
No.
Go corner and Surtain who we desperately need to fill because again, Kyle Fuller and Callahan's gone after this year.
Over Penny Sewell?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Go Sewell?
You take Penny Sewell. Yeah, man. Look, I love Penny Sewell is an absolute. He's a game changer. If the Broncos were to get a Penny Sewell in this draft at 9, they stay at 9 and they can't get a quarterback, and they end up trading for Gardner Minshew. I would love to see Penny Sewell. And you know what? You could kick him inside, maybe play guard for a year. I wasn't really that sold on Glasgow. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Let's say
about Drew Lock, because that gives him your right tackle position for 2021. Will that give you enough? Say now, okay, Drew, you got to stay healthy, and you got to show us what you got, because now you have the whole offensive line to practically fill at this point.
Look, I think Juwan. I think Juwan James. Golly, I think it's time for him to play, right?
Well,
and if Juwan James plays football this year and he plays 16 games, if and when he plays, he's a baller. He's an absolute thud. So is right tackle the most important need in this draft? Maybe, maybe not. If we got Penny Sewell, I would say that would be. We definitely got that right tackle short up.
Yeah, no kidding.
So there's no question on that position, and that's a big question mark. That's been outside of quarterback, that has been the Achilles heel of the
Yep.
Broncos for forever. I don't even remember the last good right tackle we had.
Well, I don't need it because that was a weak spot in Peyton Manning's final year.
I mean, Tyler Columbus played all right there. Who else? Who was the right tackle? I mean, they were all right. Chris Clark. I mean, they were all right. When was the last time we had a right tackle where we were like, whoa? Tony Jones in the 90s?
Yeah.
That might be the last dude. Give me somebody. Look, Juwan James, when he's playing football, he is that guy. He is that guy. Penny Sewell is that guy. So if we got Penny Sewell, that question mark is no more a question mark. We got that. You just ink it. Put it in there. Big blue ink. Penny Sewell, right tackle. Our whole offensive line is shored up at that point. And so, yes, you shore up the offensive line.
Last question.
We have questions. What's that? Vasquez. Yeah, I remember Vasquez when he was balling, he was good. He was the last really, really good right tackle. And when he was right, that's the year that was 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened in 2013? The Broncos were the best offense ever. Literally, no hyperbole. That was the greatest scoring offense of all time when we had a good right tackle. So if you can shore up that right, I'm not saying we're going to have the greatest offense in the world if we shore up the right tackle, but it's a start. If you get that right tackle, you can worry about cornerbacks. They make cornerbacks every year.
Well, I was going to say, if the quarterback isn't there at 9, obviously at this point, go with your biggest need, it'd be my opinion, at that rate.
You pray that Penny Sewell is available. So, yeah, I would say you take Penny Sewell. That's a no-brainer. No-brainer.
And then last question, of course, it was on the podcast way long back ago, but I brought up the question at the end of the 2021 season, so after this season, if things don't change, Vic Fangio, in my opinion, should be released and fired as head coach because obviously his contract's up. And he just hasn't done anything as per the rest of the coaches haven't. So here's the thing, and I'm going to mention it to you and see kind of pick someone that see what they're thinking.
Hold on, you gonna talk to me about Lincoln Riley right now?
Yes.
I knew you were gonna. Okay,
yes!
I knew you were gonna talk to me about Lincoln Riley. Man, if we get Lincoln Riley,
now granted, we would have to pay him some money because he's getting about 6'2" down here. 6 mil.
Does he want to come to the pros?
Well, see, that's the thing. Would we be not so much Denver, but just in the NFL in general? But if that option is available, this dude's young. Obviously, our team's young. He can mold quarterbacks, aka Baker, Jalen, Kyler, Spencer Rattler. But is that Drew Lock's saving haven, or who doesn't matter?
No.
Justin Fields, Trey Lance.
Okay.
Got a young squad.
Look, if you can get Lincoln Riley, that's going to be a name, dude. That's going to be yeah. I would say get. Oh man,
I mean, he's got.
I don't know
down here, so it's good.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, if you're gonna get a new head coach, it doesn't matter. You just write a blank check. If you find the guy that you know is the guy and you want to build around, if you're George Payton, George Payton has 6 years.
Yep.
He'll have 5 years, right? Theoretically,
more than like
after next year. So 5 years, and he's starting over again. And if you determine that Lincoln Riley is your guy, you just write him a blank check.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You just let him. You fill out the blank. You fill it in.
Yeah, because
but here's the thing: like, I don't know who's gonna emerge. I think there's that that offensive coordinator in Buffalo. What's his name? That would probably be my number one choice. I would, man, that another one of those quarterback whisperers, right? So yeah, there. What's his name? Dob. Man.
Brian DeBold.
Yeah, Dable. Yes, Brian Dable. I think Brian Dable would be at the top of my list. I like Lincoln. I like Lincoln Riley. Though. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if I trust college quarterbacks to come into the NFL and transition into this game.
Well, yeah,
Especially that young man. How old is he? 40? He's younger than I am.
He's 33, 34. Let me see, double check, but I believe he's mid-30s.
He looks like a 19-year-old. He looks like a kid.
Dude, he looks like
look, man, we did that experiment, right? We did that with
he'll be 38.
Daniels. Okay, so he's 38. He looks 33.
He looks, yeah.
But we tried that with McDaniels, right? Here's another thing. By the way, you have to understand too, everything is transitioning next year.
Yep.
The end of this year is the end of the road for John Elway. He's over. The ownership issues will be over after 2021. Like everything's gonna change. There's gonna be a new owner in town. There's gonna be new. Just everything's starting over next year. So next year, this is the. How do you do this? What do you say? This year is so weird, man. It's so strange. It's such a tricky spot for the Broncos.
Well,
Do you go all in this year and try to win this year? And then just let John Elway and Joe Ellis and the ownership change and all of this, everything's going to change next year. And do you just run it with Locke again? But then you have all of this, you have Von Miller on a 1 year, right? You have a 1 year window with some really, really, really good players. Kareem Jackson's on a 1 year deal. You know what I mean? You have all these guys. The whole team essentially is going to turn over next year. It'll be 65% turnover on the team next year. So you want to run it back next year with a whole new group? Or do you want to try to win this year? If you're Vic Fangio, you want to win this year. This is your one shot. This is you got mom's spaghetti on your sweater already. This is your one shot. So do you think that he wants to run into this last year on a 1 year deal where he knows everything could change next year with Drew Lock as his quarterback? No way. And I know that it comes back to the quarterback, but honestly, that's the weakest link on our squadron. That is the weak link on the team. It's the biggest question mark. It's the biggest question mark by far. And if I'm Vic Fangio, there's no way in hell I'm going into this season with Drew Lock as my quarterback.
Well, if the option's not there, if the option's there, yeah, I wouldn't either. No,
you can't, right? And how do you justify your own career as a head coach in the NFL and say, look, we didn't try to move up and go get that guy. We didn't try to go get. We knew what we had, and we still went with it. And that's the definition of crazy, right? Where you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting new results, different results. That would be crazy for me if the Broncos went with Drew Lock next year. With everything on the line this year, they have one more chance. John Elliott wants to win. He wants to win this year. Vic Fangio wants to win football. He wants to win this year. He wants to, George Payton wants to win this year. Von Miller wants to win this year. And how do you justify to those guys and say, look, we're going to run it back with Drew? Mm-hmm. You can't. You cannot look those guys in the face and say, this is how we have one shot and we're riding with this guy. To me, it doesn't make, you cannot look the fan base in the eye and say, we didn't do everything we could to at least address the situation that we had. We had the worst starting quarterback in the NFL last year.
Mm-hmm.
That is, to me, you cannot, Broncos country, please, everybody in Broncos country, you know that we need a change. We know we need to address that spot. If we can address that position, then we do it. And we haven't yet. So it comes down to this draft. So if they stay at 9, and it's between Penny Sewell and all of these and Surtain and all of these guys, we've already failed. We've already lost.
Yep.
We've already the ship sailed, and now we run it back with Drew, and that scares me to death, to be honest with you. And I don't know how we can do that to John Elway and Von Miller and Vic Fangio. I know Vic hasn't really earned his stripes here in Denver yet, but how do you look Vic in the eye and say, this is how we're going to run it? We're going to run it back with Drew. I don't think that's the plan. There's no, I don't see that as a plan. I cannot picture that as the plan. So if it comes down to those 3 guys, we've already lost. So I think we do everything we can to go get a quarterback. And I hope it's Justin Fields.
You're looking at the unrestricted free agents after this season: Von Miller, Kyle Fuller, Melvin Gordon, Bradley Chubb, Bryce Callahan, Kareem Jackson, Tim Patrick, Alexander Johnson, Jeff Driscoll, Shamar Stephen, Cortland Sutton, Duke Lawson, Nate Hairston, Royce Freeman.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
We'll see.
That's your core. That's a core, dude.
Yeah.
That's the core of your football team.
Yep.
And so you're gonna put 1 year those guys. You're gonna tell each one of those guys, your last year in Denver, we're running it back with the worst quarterback in the NFL last year.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's working hard. Now he's working hard. You can't justify that to me as a 40-year Bronco fan. I've been a Bronco fan for 40 years. You cannot justify that to me. You cannot justify running it back with the worst quarterback in the NFL. For 40 years of my life, I've been a Broncos fan, and never, ever have we had the worst quarterback in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And if we did have the worst quarterback in the NFL, we definitely didn't have the worst quarterback in the NFL 2 years in a row. Mm-hmm. And if we did, who would stand for that? There's nobody in Broncos country that would stand for that. That I know. I don't understand. I can't justify that. I cannot justify that. And if I'm being harsh about Drew Lock, and if I'm sorry, man. You had your shot, and you were the worst starting quarterback in the NFL last year. I don't know. You can't run it back with him. So to me, you got to do everything you can. You got to come up with some sort of strategy, and if that means you lose Noah Fant and the 9 and the 40, and maybe even next year's 2 or even 1 next year, honestly, I don't care. I don't care if that's the guy. If Justin Fields is the guy, and they know that he's the guy, and that will improve this team in 2021. You go make it happen, because next year Next year does not exist right now. Next year's a whole nother monster. And next year, it doesn't exist for Denver Broncos next year. Next 2022 does not exist for the Denver Broncos. There's no such thing as 2022 for the Denver Broncos. So if you have to give up a 2022 first round pick to move up to get your guy this year, just do it. Because next year, ownership's going to change. Everything changes next year. The whole thing changes next year. The new coach, everything changes. So if you're here, if you have an opportunity to move up to get Justin Fields at number 4, you go get him. You do not stay at 7. You don't stay at 9 and hope one of these guys slips to you, because that is a recipe. I don't understand how you can do that. I don't know, man. You tell me, this is a big damn draft. This is a big draft.
The organization, I mean, it's a huge draft because you look at it, you're still not solidified on a quarterback, and you need someone that's going to be the face of the franchise that's not a wide receiver in Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy or Justin Simmons in your corner. So, I mean, let's be honest, Von Miller's on the bottom age, and he's on the bottom of his heel. So, I mean, you got to get somebody that's the face of the franchise that's not a non-quarterback position.
Amen. So if that means if you got to trade Jerry Jeudy to the Atlanta Falcons for number 4, go, hey, Jerry Jeudy. Adios.
I know it's going to be.
Sorry.
Yeah, I would personally trade Cortland due to the fact that this is his contract year.
I mean, yeah, but they're not. Who would you rather have if you're the Atlanta Falcons?
True.
You know what I mean? So look, you got to look at it from the Falcons. They have all the leverage right now. They know that the Denver Broncos need a quarterback right now. So they have all the leverage at the 4 pick. So if it means Jerry Jeudy and the 9 and the 40, adios, Jerry. Thank you for your service. But you have absolutely got to make a move this year. This year. And it's got to be at 4. You've got to move to the 4 pick. So I think there's I think that's it. That's what they're going to do. I think the Denver Broncos move up to the number 4 pick. I think they give Atlanta. They're moving on from Julio. Julio's gone in Atlanta, and the Broncos just so happen to have what ails the Atlanta Falcons. And I think they have a lot more than anybody else has to offer them. Because you can move, you could conceivably move to 9 at the Atlanta Falcons, and you could get Penny Sewell, and you could get those guys, right? Now ask yourself, if you're the Atlanta Falcons, who do you take? If you take Penny Sewell, Patrick Surtain, or say Devontae Smith. Now you have those 3 guys, right? And those 3 guys fall into your lap at 9. And now you have Jerry Jeudy or Noah Fant, and now one of those 3 guys. Now, who do you take if you're Atlanta? Now you're saying, okay, now I can work with this because I already have my quarterback.
Well, nonetheless, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the Broncos, and they're in the position this year. That 9 pick is so interesting too. It's so dynamic. It's like the pivot of the whole draft.
Well, I mean, it is because
like
you can move back, you can stay. It plays a lot of roles, and people don't think it is.
No, and there's going to be, you might even be able to get the best defensive player in the draft at 9, right? So let's say Atlanta's always poor on defense. They always need defensive players. And if you give them Jerry Jeudy, and then you can say, hey, you're going to get the best defensive player in the draft at 9. That goes a long way. So I think I think uh I think that you're going to see the Denver Broncos move up to the 4th pick, and they're going to trade with Atlanta, and it's going to be one of these players. It's going to be a player that we love, that we're going to hate to see go. And it's going to be either Noah Fant or Jerry Jeudy, in my opinion. And either one of those two guys, expendable. If we can get our franchise quarterback, either one of those two guys, both of those guys. See you later. And having a quarterback and having a franchise quarterback in Denver when ownership meets when this team is getting sold, right? That goes a long way too. So it's a whole lot better looking prospect of owning the Denver Broncos when their quarterback's in place. So they know they need a quarterback. They know they need a quarterback now for the salvation of the team, really. In so many ways. I don't think the Denver Broncos have ever needed a quarterback as bad as they do this year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And even in '83, when the Broncos when they somehow got John Elway.
Yep.
They had Steve DeBerg, who's actually a really decent quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. He wasn't John Elway, but they didn't. They could have gone forward without John Elway. Here, okay, look. In '83, they got John Elway, right?
Right.
They traded for John Elway. What happened in '84? You know what happened in 1984? What happened? What's the big thing that happened in 1984 for the Denver Broncos? Who came to Denver? Pat Bowlen.
Oh yeah.
They sold the Denver Broncos to Pat Bowlen in 1984. Pat Bowlen went on. He's a Hall of Fame owner.
Yep.
Right? And he bought the Denver Broncos. Why? Because they had John Elway. And he knew because they had John Elway that he put everything, he went all in on the Denver Broncos because of John Elway. And look how it turned out. The whole franchise, it changed the direction of the entire, like, we are Bronco fans today, you and me, because of that pivotal moment. This year, right now, as we're talking to the rest of everybody who's listening, right now is that pivotal of a moment in Denver Broncos history. So if you don't take this moment absolutely 100% serious and say, look, now is the time we go all in on somebody, because we know next year, just like in '83, going into '84, this team changes. Everything changes next year. So we need the guy now. So I know there's a lot of guys out there who want to give Drew Lock a shot, who really like the guy. And I mean, he's a good guy to root for. I can see why people like rooting for him. But he had his shot, and he's not the guy, man. It just didn't happen. We have to go all in right now. We have to. It's imperative. Like, if you're a Broncos fan, now is the time to go all in on the quarterback and go get it. And and it's so funny that the Niners knew that they needed to jump to 3, right? Why did they go to 3?
Mm-hmm.
Why did they trade to 3 right now? Because they know that the Denver Broncos, if you were going to look, the Denver Broncos and the 49ers, those two front offices, they are homeboys, right? Is there any other two organizations that are more closely tied than those two? John Elway and John Lynch are boys, homeboys. Their coach is a Shanahan, right? He grew up in Denver.
Yep.
Idolizing John Elway. Like these are two very close franchise. They know that they're symbiotic. They have synergy, right? So they know that they need to leapfrog the Broncos to get their guy because they know the Broncos are going up there too.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, dude.
It's gonna be fun.
I am too, man. I am too. But there's a real possibility that I leave this draft and I'm going to be just so bummed out, man. But I don't think so. I think George Payton understands the gravity of this year's draft. I feel like he understands how important this draft is for Broncos country. Or I'll say wouldn't have hired him. I think he came in and he said, look, this is the these are the direction that we're going to go. We know he understands the gravity, how it's 1 year. We have 1 year, and then everything changes next year. The whole thing changes, and if we're rebuilding and we got to turn over all of those guys, you just read off the list of those guys that we need to either re-sign or they're gone, right? We're rebuilding next year. Like we're rebuilding. Do you want to rebuild and have to get a quarterback next year?
Well, no, I mean, if you want to get a quarterback, you're going to get this year. That's just all there's to it.
You have to, and you know it. And George Payton knew that he's going to go get a quarterback in the draft, and that's why we have all these quarterbacks. How many quarterbacks have changed jobs this year?
Yep.
There's been so many, like 19 quarterbacks, position changes this year, and the Broncos aren't one of them. Wow, well, that obviously means something, right? We had the worst starting quarterback in the NFL last year, and we haven't done anything until now. So we are getting a quarterback this year. And I think it's going to be Justin Fields. And if it is Justin Fields, I think that we did the right thing because I love the guy. I mean, the way he played, he balled out against was it Oklahoma?
Mm-hmm.
No. Was it Oklahoma in the Final Four?
Clemson.
But he broke his rib. No, it was Clemson.
Clemson.
They beat Clemson, man. He broke his ribs in that game in like the first quarter, dude.
It was in the first quarter.
And played the whole game and balled out. That is the kind of guy that you want as a Denver Bronco quarterback. That's a guy I can trust.
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. We're going to have a quarterback, dude. We're going to have a new quarterback come Thursday. Come hell or high water. It's coming. It is coming. All right, partner, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap this thing up. It's been Clyde on there. And come Thursday night, and of course, you guys are listening right now currently on the Unhinged Sports Network. It's going to be fun. I will be up regardless of how long it takes and get that first pick in the 2021 NFL draft. I'll be up to watch it. My final pick, I say Denver goes quarterback. I know you say Justin Fields. I got a little counteract on you. I'm going to say Trey Lance just to make it an even match here. Okay, fair enough, man. I'm happy either way, bro. And thanks so much for having me on your show, man. I really appreciate it. Hey, absolutely, and we should be doing a recap sometime next week or so, whenever you get a chance of recapping Denver's draft. Okay, that sounds good, man. Thanks, Mike. Take care, Clyde. My brother from another mother. You got it. All right, later, buddy. Take care. Everyone, again, Clyde Butler, a huge NFL fan, and of course a Denver Broncos fan. You're listening to the Air Raid Attack podcast. Everyone have a wonderful week and enjoy NFL Draft Weekend. Go Broncos. Later, bye.